chasing distance.
Good evening and welcome, one and all, to this an in depth exploration of what occurred last week in Manchester Airport. And we touched on this on Friday with Ben, and we kind of had different views, although mine was basically I'm not really going to comment on it until I know more context. And now we've seen slightly more context. And even then, it doesn't explain everything, but I think what it does do is it gives us an opportunity to go through what occurred and what happened and why it occurred, maybe, and the mistakes that were made. Because I think there were a number of mistakes made. And you're saying, oh, who's this old fat guy sitting here to talk about, you know, armed police in an airport? Why does he get any background in it? Well, I'll give you my background in case you don't know. Most of the regulars will, though, because they'll have fed up hearing it. First of all, we'll visit the chat, and it's popping off already. That's good. Beats and tapes, good to see you, mate. Tommy Robinson, I don't really know. I don't know what his protest was about or his rally or whatever. And it's like these people need to get arrested every so often, don't they, to keep themselves relevant? And I've no love for Tommy. I've no hatred for Tommy. He's just Tommy. I think the things he's exposed that haven't been followed up are a damning indictment on society. Other things he does, should he or should it doesn't really matter, I think he exposed enough that society should have picked up on that and it should have been followed through. And that's the thing he should be concentrating on, because that's the thing that's never been addressed. That's just my view, though. And obviously, you come to my channel, you get my view. That's just how it goes. I'm sorry. But don't let me think I won't listen to you. And if you think this is going to be a whitewash from an ex-cop about how the police did nothing wrong, then you're going to be sorely mistaken. So if you just want validation of how great the police are, then maybe this isn't the show for you. Because, well, as I said, we'll hear from a retired armed firearms officer that served with Strathclyde Police and had been on many incidents, including one in which, shall we say, a man who had probably taken temporary leave of his senses due to being rejected by his girlfriend, got to the point where he charged firearms officers with a loaded shotgun. And I'm not even going to have to tell you what occurred because he's no longer with us. But these things happen. Right. Still got the hat. This is the actual hat issued at that time to police firearms officers. I know it looks a bit obvious, but that's all Velcroed on, so you can go stealth when it's dark. You can take all that stuff off. I'll give you a brief background. You have to volunteer to be a firearms officer because the police in Britain are not routinely armed, contrary to what you may think. At my point in time when I was serving, there was no tasers. Tasers weren't a thing in Britain, so we didn't use tasers. It was either a baton or a firearm. And as I said, you had to volunteer to be a firearms officer. And being young and stupid, I volunteered to be a firearms officer because it's exciting. It's good fun. And already had extensive police advanced driving training because I was already in the traffic. And when they started up the firearms car, I was a shoo-in. I just had to go for it because, one, I like driving really fast. Two, I like playing with guns. So there you go. Job done. So yeah, I got trained as a firearms officer. The training is actually quite intense. There's a lot in it. You handle a lot of weapons. You do training about At the point where I was doing it, it was about 2 days every month, just training, uh, and a requalification shoot every year, of which the pass mark was 96%, and an instant fail if you went beyond the 7 ring on the target. So the target was that traditional terrorist guy charging at you with a gun. So if you went beyond the 7 ring, which covered, the main mass of your body, if you went beyond that, it was an instant fail. And as I said, 96% pass rate, which meant you could only get 2 bullets off the target. Sorry, you could only get two bullets down, and you were out because we only got 50 rounds in a qualification shoot. And the qualification shoot consisted of shooting for the handgun, for shooting from 7 yards, 12 yards, and 25 yards. You also practiced and trained on shooting from 50 yards with a handgun, and again, you still weren't allowed to go outside the 7 ring, because the worst thing you can do as a police officer is miss the target because you don't know where the bullet's going. So the problem is, if you miss the target, who's going to get hit with it? And that's happened. In a military situation, that's a bonus because, you put in a high velocity round and you drill through 3 people, and that's a bonus. But in the police situation, over penetration is a really bad thing, because if the bullet goes through someone and hits someone else, that's an innocent that's been struck, possibly. So you don't want over penetration, and you don't want to miss a target. That's why the police and people do this shoot to kill policy, and police don't do that. They don't have a shoot to kill policy. What the police do is they shoot to hit, because you've got to hit your target. And this is why when you look at Hollywood and you see them shooting people in the knee, in the arm, or the hand, it's all bunkum. Nobody does that in the real world. When you have to fire your weapon at someone, you're firing to stop them, right? Whether they continue to exist or not is entirely in the lap of the gods at that point, because you're firing to stop them. And to stop them, you've got to guarantee hitting them. And to hit them, you shoot at the centre of mass. So you're shooting for the bullseye, which is roughly where your heart is, where your breastbone would be. So that's where you're firing at. Now, some bad people get access to body armor, and if you shoot someone and put two presents wrapped in lead into the center of mass, and the person keeps coming at you, then you have to be a bit more creative. But again, you're still shooting at a large target. What you then shoot at is the plexus, the pelvic region. The idea being you will break their pelvis and they will fall over. Now, this might sound, I don't know why, my apologies, people. No, it wasn't serious, but it was work related. Not this work, but that work, the bakery. It wasn't Tommy, no. An urgent job has come in for a chocolate birthday cake for tomorrow. So she was wanting to know how much, and I said it's got to be at least 60 quid, because that's a really short time scale. And she's going, but it's just a regular small cake. And I'm like, no, at least. Oh, and she goes, really? And I goes, okay, 80 then. she prices too low. She really does. Right. Who can lip read? So I apologize about that, people. Where was I? We were talking about the centre of mass and stopping people. And this is how the police act when they've actually got to use a firearm. So all this Hollywood stuff's just nonsense. You can't shoot someone's hand or leg and guarantee a hit. That's because those things move too easily and you miss them, and then the bullet's off and running. So there you go. Oh, right. So where else? My primary weapon, handgun, was, in my choice, a Magnum 357 Smith & Wesson with plus 38p semi-wad cutter ammunition. So semi-wad cutter is a snub-nosed bullet with a lead nose, which is outlawed under the Geneva Convention, but an exemption is there for police because if it hits anything with any mass, it will spread, and therefore, in a military situation, that's not nice. But in a police situation, that's ideal because you don't get that really bad thing, which is over penetration and putting someone else at risk. The other weapon was the H&K MP5 carbine, single shot or three shot mode with a red dot sight. I've also fired a numerous amount of other firearms, including shotguns, AK-47s, Uzis, Uzi 9mm, yeah, semi-automatic pistols, just so many, Belgian FN 7.62. That was the old British Army SLR. That's an impressive piece of kit, and it gives you a fair kick. And even a Thompson submachine gun from World War II era. That was quite impressive as well. But yeah, right. Anyway, moving on. So that's the situation now. As an armed police officer, you're in a completely alien environment in the UK because most of your colleagues aren't armed. And most of the public don't think you're armed because they don't pick up on it straight away. And when you've got a gun in a holster on your hip, you're very conscious that no one can get access to that firearm apart from yourself, because if someone was to take that firearm, they could wreak havoc with it. And ultimately, you would be responsible. And it might even result in your own demise. So you start approaching situations differently, and you would send unarmed officers in if you didn't have to do the actual job, So they would go in first if there was no threat of a firearm being present. Then unarmed officers would deal with a traffic stop, for instance, and you would stand back. So it's a completely different operating environment. Now, I think a number of things have gone wrong in this incident that we're going to look at, and we'll go through it. We'll go through it in detail. And I'll tell you how I would have handled it and how it would have been dealt with in my day. That's not to say that it's the right way or the wrong way. I'm just going to say how we would probably have dealt with it in a different way than they did. And I think maybe this is an example of how the police have lost a degree of professionalism, and maybe, I don't know, maybe the caliber of recruit isn't quite where it should be. I may be wrong. Remember, I'm not just a dumb cop. I've got 2 degrees, one's a master's. So, right, let's have a look. I've got a new toy as well, so we'll see if this works. Screen share. Why is the screen share not showing the shared item? Well, there we go. It stops working straight away, doesn't it? As always. So there we go. Right, we are sharing the item. So this is the video, and it's not great quality, but this is the CCTV footage. This is the stuff that starts from, say, the beginning. Now, I have turned the playback speed down because I want to play it slowly. Just let me check. Speed slower. Oh, right. So it's at half speed. So you see the three officers, right? Now they're quite hard to pick out. But let me see if my device is working and that we can identify them. So officer. Yeah. And I think there's one at the front here. Officer, right? So let's go forward slightly. Yeah. Right. So I think what we've got here are two two male police officers and one female. My thoughts are that this is the female police officer here. She has a ponytail. She's much, much shorter and slightly built compared to the rest of them. Now, I think things have started going wrong already, in my view, because this is the target. This is the tango, right? And this is his brother, the big guy in grey. Now, I'm assuming you've all seen this. You've all seen this video. So I'm not going to play it at normal speed because I don't want the YouTube gods coming down on us. I'm just going to pick through it. Mother is, I believe, over here, wearing the similar coloured turquoise to, let's call him Tango 1, right? Tango 2 is in the grey hoodie or sweatshirt. And the police officers are, I'll call this guy PC1. This is PC3 and PC2. Now, one of these police officers seems to disappear, but I'm not quite sure. But let's go through it, because what I've deliberately done is I've not gone through it an awful lot. I have gone through it, but I haven't gone through it an awful lot, and I haven't looked at other people's analysis of it, because what I wanted is I want to give you my analysis of the situation, which may be completely at odds and may be different, but I'm going to give you it the best way I can. Now, I wonder if I turn on disappearing ink. Oh, it does. After 20 seconds, my ink should disappear. Now, that would be good, because that would save me having to keep going back and rubbing it out. You know, like this. Do you like my tool? We do like our tools, don't we? Right. As I was saying, I think things have started going wrong already, right? Because what you have here is those tangos, and those are the cops. Okay? I don't know if there's any other cops in sight at this point in time. Now, the point here is the police have been called to an incident. I don't know what. I know the incident is a number of different things that have occurred throughout the flight, and then them getting off, and alleged problems and with trolleys and being rammed, and maybe slurs being used or whatever. But regardless of that, the police have been called to an incident, and I'm thinking, what are these cops doing? First of all, there's three of them, which isn't a bad number, but I believe they're all armed, because even the PW, or should say the female officer, appears to have a sidearm. Now, I believe they're all armed, and three, they're all together. Why are they all together? They're all targeted and they're all focused. You can see them. They're all looking, right? They're all looking at the bad people, right? That's where their target is. So who's paying attention to these guys? Or these people? Or the people over here? Or even the women, right? Who's paying attention to the overall scene? So it would appear that there's been a single-minded focus to go and get these two guys. Have probably been pointed out to them, and they thought, well, we'll just go and nip it in the bud. But no, that's not how you would. That's not how you would take this situation. And these people, although these people say we're just civilians and we were just filming, they didn't do anything to help, and they didn't really do anything to hinder. So at this point, they're non-combatants, but in my view, they're potential hostiles. And going into that situation, everyone in that area is a potential hostile, male or female. And you have to look at the situation. So my view is that all three officers don't bunch up like that and don't go after these two guys. And when you see the two guys, they're not small, right? You got to assess the situation and work with what you've got, because one of your officers isn't terribly big. And, with all the best will in the world, there's only a limited amount of strength that some people have compared to others. And you have to work within the resources that you've got. So my first point is at least one of those officers shouldn't be in there. One should be holding back and observing the scene and maybe even asking for backup, because 3 against 2 in a police situation isn't great numbers. 3 against 1 is good. 2 against 1 is okay. 3 against 2 is getting too close to parity. And I might sound like a big wuss, but you've got to take every advantage you can. And these days in particular, the respect for the police has been eroded. So you don't have that additional respect now. You become a target. So you have to have the ability to defend yourself and to keep other people from harm. So the whole approach is wrong, in my view. You should be going in there, and I would only actually send one in, probably the guy at the front. I would go. He should go in and he should say to those two boys, "Can we have a word, please, just off to the side? I'd just like to talk to you." At that point, you would take them over here, and that removes them from all these people. And it allows you to contain the situation much better. But no, they don't do that, do they? They go in quite heavy, quite hard hitting. So let's see where they go. Let's take the next step. Right. Now there's an issue I would say straight away. That police officer did not speak to, he may have spoke to the guy, but as he spoke to him, he grabbed his arm and pulled him towards him. Why would you do that? Especially if you're an armed cop. You don't want people near you. And if your firearm's down here, which is what it looks like, right, you're exposing your firearm to him and him. You should be turned with your firearm pointing away from the potential assailants, and you should be talking to them. There's no need to be laying hands on at this point, because again, you don't want to affect an arrest in a confined space with other people right around you, packed in like that. Now, I mean, feel free to jump in the chat if you think I'm out of order. But we'll continue. We'll continue to pace through this. Right, now the 3 cops are now so closely bunched up that you can only see 2 of them. Here's Tango 2 with his grey hoodie, grey t-shirt on, Tango 1. But the 3 cops are so close together, they're all bunched up. Well, what are they doing? Are they having a confab? Is this guy saying, hold on a minute, maybe we should take them over there? Which would be the right choice in my view. But it's too late. They've gone in without a plan. And they're reacting. So if these cops to me, they look a bit, and I'm not wanting to disparage police officers of today, but one, they look too cocky. So have they been in a situation like this before? 2, have they become complacent because they work in the airport? Because when I worked in firearms, you never wanted to work in the airport. It's the most boring job ever. There's nothing happens in the airport. You want to be out in the cars. You want to be doing turns. You want to be, taking people out of houses and things. You want responding to calls. You don't want to be in the airport. And generally, what we found was the people that volunteered for airport duty were the lazy people. Now, I'm not saying that these guys are, but they walk in there with a bit of a swagger, over cockiness, and a complete ill thought or no plan. It's either an ill thought out plan or no plan. And I think it's no plan. I think they're just reacting to the situation. And that's not how you're trained to deal with these things. You're not trained to just walk in and react. You're trained to step back and assess the situation. That's why when many times when you see the police officers being told of something happening, they don't burst into action like, Hollywood action heroes. They'll go, oh, yeah, because that's given them thinking time and thinking, what's happening? Where where do I need to be? Is this real? Am I being lured into a trap? What's the best response to you've got all that. It's got to go through all your head before you start busting into action. You don't just let's go. Unless it's, thinking time takes milliseconds, and yet it can save your life and it can save the lives of others. Yeah, for instance, we were sitting in the office one night and co-winning, and this isn't an armed situation. This is just beat cops. We're sitting in the office, which is just a shop in a row in the high street, and there's this banging on the door because there's no police presence in it after 5 o'clock. The receptionist goes home, the door gets shut, and we just use it as a base. So middle of the night, we're having our break. Bang, 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 bang. Goes to the door, opens the door, and the guy goes, "There's a fire in the flats. There's a fire in the flats." And the flats are just across the high street. So I goes, "Okay." Steps out, looks, sees that there is indeed smoke coming from these flats, turns around and walks straight back into the police office. And the guy's like, "Come quick, come quick." And I'm going, "Just a minute." Went through, told Keith what was happening, says, "Get on the phone, get the fire brigade. I'll go and see what the score is outside now," and then went back out. So you're giving yourself thinking time and you're reacting appropriately and you're letting everyone know what's happening. And I don't think these guys did this at all. I think they've just gone in gung ho. It's not the way to do it, people. It just isn't the way to do it. And I don't want you to think I'm going to pile on these cops, because what happens later in this video is completely completely off the scale and not something you would anticipate occurring. But anyway, let's move on. Do you like? I quite like my little highlighting tool. It's quite good. Right. So we're now in a situation. Where these cops, right? This one's engaged. This one's engaged, and the PW's engaged. They're all in on Turquoise guy, Tango 1, right? What about him? Huh? Who's watching him? Nobody. Do you see what I mean about the plan? I.e., there wasn't one. Where's your observer? Where's the guy that's going to come in and give backup? You stand down, So they're all in against this one guy, and this guy's not being watched. We paste it. Look, he's coming round. So this guy has twigged that this guy might now be a threat. So he might be a threat. But still engaged in the Stramash and struggle with the chap in Turquoise. It's quite disturbing from my point of view, because it all went wrong with the way the cops approached this. Now, who's this dude? Do you see what I mean about being... Who's this guy? Do you see what I mean about potential hostiles? He's gone in there with purpose. These guys are not interested. They're not interested in taking part. You can see that. This guy isn't really. It's probably his kid, I'm surmising. This guy's an onlooker. She's an onlooker. Where'd the mother go? So she's coming round, is she? Because she didn't go forward. Or did she? I'm not quite sure. But this guy is coming in with purpose. Who's he? And there's nobody to watch him because the cops are all still on the target. Oh, there's the mother. So the mother had got up. Sorry, the mother had got up and come round. This guy's still coming in. Right. Now we're getting into a situation where arms and fists are starting to fly. This is the guy in grey. He's then come round and inside. Look where these people are looking though. These are the cops. They're still engaged with the target. They're the first target. Nobody's even glanced at him. Look at the size of him. He's definitely a potential hostile. Mother has come in to possibly diffuse the situation, you know? But it's a situation that shouldn't have needed diffusing because the situation should never have occurred. Again, we're back to the way the whole thing started. Remove them from the flashpoint, remove them from all these people, talk to them as individuals, start a dialogue, and then you might not have to have a fight. Next steps. So Turquoise Guy has been rescued by Grey Guy. So Turquoise Guy is now on his own. This PW is still looking at the cops rather than Turquoise Guy. Mother is still trying to defuse, and this guy with a grey t-shirt on is about to start wailing on this cop. I don't like this guy at all. I don't like the way he's lurking there. Especially, he's poised, his arms are bent. He looks like he's intent on something, but he's not quite sure. He could have been a potential adversary for the cops. Now let's see what happens next. It's actually quite good going through it at 50%. I hope I'm not boring you. Right. So we've still got all these police officers focused on one guy. But Turquoise Guy is now in the fray. Look, you can see he's ready. He's making a strike. And there's his target, that cop. Big guy in a grey t-shirt is now on top of the police officer. Mother appears to be pleading, please don't, please don't. This guy, hands are not in the pockets. Hands are by his sides. Still primed. I don't like him. These guys, not really part of it. This guy's actually thinking about bugging out. Good move. Kid's still there. Somebody should have removed the kid from this scene. Moving on. Right, so Turquoise Guy has now taken down this cop. And you can see that quite dramatically with the head snap. Because there's the body. There's her body and their head is well over to one side. Now this looks... See, this is where I got confused because it looks like there's two females now. So where was the second guy? The second guy cop? He just seems to have disappeared. Unless it was a female with dark hair. So this guy is now burst into action, and t-shirt Jimmy here is now right on top of this cop and wailing at him. Mother has come right in, and this is a turning point, and this is where the cops actually got saved. Because what happens next is his arm comes back and smacks Mother in the face, I think. I don't think he deliberately tried it, but it happened. This cop, so watch when we play, there's going to be an impact here. Turquoise guy is still at it and thinks he's Johnny Rambo. He has gone full berserker mode. This cop here, I'm not quite sure what she's doing. I think she might have pulled her taser at this point. These guys are moving back slightly. This guy's gone off to the side. This guy's still in his position. He's not moving. I don't like him at all. I'd be very suspicious of him. Moving forward. It's not a great video because, and this is the best. So Berserker guy is still now, he's in full action. He's in full mode. He has gone scripto. I'm not sure who that is, this dark shape. Is it one of the police officers? That's a civilian. This is a civilian. This guy's still there, right in the thick of it, but not doing anything. Berserker guy has, as you saw, had contact with the mother, who is now down on the deck. And I think he sees this and realises that maybe this is going too far, and he sits down. Now, I think he got tased. And this is another thing that we're going to have to talk about, tasers, because I think tasers are a big problem because they stop you doing one thing or another, and they're not always effective. Because this guy, I think he got tased because the guy had his taser out, and it looked like, when you saw some of the better quality stills, it looked like it had fired at least once. So let's see the next steps. Right, yep. Now, what is she doing? What is this cop doing? This is not Marcus of Queensbury rules. She is facing up to Tango 1, right? Like it's a boxing match. You're not going to win, though. He's bigger than you, he's got a longer reach, and he's obviously more aggressive. And because I'm playing this at 50%, you're not seeing, the whole thing interacting. What's this guy doing? He's come forward. That's a cop on the deck. What's he doing? He's not helping her or him. So I'd like to know what he did. The non-combatants have withdrawn. So we've now got Tango 1 facing up to Blonde PW, and this guy's about to turn it off. He's about to turn down because he's a big guy, and he was on top of that cop, wailing on him, just trading punch for punch. Not even trading, just sending them. He was just sending them in. So I'm not sure if this will stay monetized, but even so, I think it's an important examination of what's occurring. So as predicted, Tango 1 has taken out the PW with a swift one to the face by the looks of things, because he's got a better reach. This guy's winding down. The cop is, I think the cop at this point has pulled his taser. What's he doing? There's a cop on the deck here. What's he doing? See, the whole thing's just a mishmash, isn't it? Moving on. So now we've got a bit of sense coming into grey t-shirt. They're facing each other. I think his mother is still down. His mother's still down. This is her down here. This is a PW as well. This is a blonde PW, right? And this is the other blonde PW, and she's gone. Who would know? Who would know that so far? What are we at? 40 minutes. Who would know that a 29-second video could take 40 minutes and we've only done 15 seconds off it. Yeah, I think it's two PWs. I think one of them looks like a man from behind, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but I think she's maybe got shorter hair, or it was just the way the camera picked her up. But yeah, I think it was two PWs and one guy. Oh, sorry, I'm sweltering a bit. It's quite warm here this evening. Right, let's move on a bit. Let's get through this. Let's carry on. Right, did you see that flash? That was the taser discharge. He's been tased. Okay, I'll use my tool. Now, I'll try it. Oh, well. So, he's put his hand up to his chest. He's been tased. He's a big guy. He's a big guy with a beard and the grey t-shirt. That cop's just tased him. You can see he's got something in his arm, his right hand, and I think that's the taser. What is this guy doing? Is he kicking her? Because she's still down on the deck. That PW's still on the deck. What is he doing? Who's this? The observer? He's got the camera and he's filming it. This is probably the guy that took the video that you saw first. Look at this. Still in full blown I'm pummeling you mode. And he is. Right, let's see if we can just nip that back. See that big bright spot? Right, if I go back, you'll see the flash. Watch. Whoosh. He get tased. Right? There's the taser. He's now going down. Right? But watch him. Watch him, because he's been tased, remember? Right? PW's got away from this guy, and maybe he's just standing there with his foot over his case. She's now starting to come up. She got hit early on and went down like a sack of tatties. He's still at it. He's kicking. You don't get your leg into that position unless you're kicking someone that's on the ground. He's kicking that police officer. This guy's going, sit down. You sit down, behave yourself. This guy's exhausted, right? I don't know if you've ever been in a fight, a physical fight with full body armor and overalls and all the other gear. You are absolutely knackered because you're expending an awful lot of energy in very little time. Yeah, so is this a second tase? I don't know how many times I don't know the model, I don't know how many times they fire, but most of them have only got, they've either got like 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 shots and that's it. And I think there's a recharge time between batteries, between switching. So if you tase someone and then hit someone in quick succession, I don't think they get the same charge. But anyway, this guy's still giving it Tonka here, as we were talking about. So let's move forward a little bit. So he goes down. Now, see, this is the problem when you've got too few cops, too many assailants. Now, you think how worse this could have been if he'd stepped in, right? Because then it was 3-on-3, and 2 of the cops were on the deck already. He has now seen his brother go down from the taser. He's still looking at this guy. This cop's out of the game, and there's a PW in there somewhere. Mother's still on the floor, I think. What a shit show. What a shit show. Yeah, everyone will be taken into account, Shalini. They will be going through this, time and time and time again. They will almost certainly come to the wrong conclusions. They'll come to the politically expedient conclusions rather than what would be considered either natural or appropriate justice. But that's just my view. So we're now at 16 seconds of this video. That's a lot to have happened in 16 seconds. The cop is now facing up to the guy again to tase him. Look, that guy was tased. He's still capable of fighting. He didn't even put him down, really. He just sat down. And I think part of it is that he saw his mum go down, and that slowed him down. So this guy is still looking here. Now, nobody has done a sit rep. She's like still on the deck, so is of no use. She's been pummeled by Tango 1, who's now in motion and heading for this cop, right? The observer's still filming. These guys are non-combatants. They're not getting involved. This guy's guarding his case as if it's full of money. And this guy's backed off slightly. No one is helping. Not one of them has stepped in to try and help the situation or diffuse the situation. Why? These cops, if they went in, as I explained at the start, they would have had backup by now, because the first thing they would have asked for was some backup, because as soon as you're up 3 against 2, you want more cops. So this guy's put his hand up. He's going, I'm surrendering. But Tango 1 here isn't. He's on it. He's on a mission. Here he goes. And you have got a classic sucker punch from behind. She's just starting to get to her feet. This one's still on the deck. He may have been tased again. But it didn't put him down. It didn't stop him moving. This cop is still focused on him. He only sees him as a threat. He's not situationally aware. You have got to have your wits about you in these situations. You have got to have eyes on stocks. He's not Steven Seagal. He can't sit in a chair and take everybody on. I've downloaded a couple of Steven Seagal movies. I'm going to rip the piss out of them. So we're now at 18 seconds. Classic haymaker, guy's going down like a sack of tatties. And he continues wheeling on him. And now she finally got off her butt after getting pounded, if you pardon the expression. And again, we have a taser discharge, probably at this guy. She's still coming to her feet, this one. He's given up. He's going, right, enough's enough. I'm putting my arms up. Okay. So he's out. I'm done. Tango 1 is not done. He is wailing on this guy now. This guy is getting the brunt of it. He really is. But again, did he approach the whole situation wrong? All three of them did. Now, it looks like this guy may have triggered his taser again. I don't know if he hit him or not. But if so, that guy could have been tasered 3 or 4 times. And he's still walking around. That he you've seen him anyway. He's a big dude, you know. He's not gonna go down easy. It's like shooting an elephant with a 2-2. He ain't going down easy. So I hope you're enjoying this. Well, as much as you can be, but I'm trying to give it to you. I'm trying to give it to you as forensically as possible, but I'm no Keith Starmer. Sorry, Keir Starmer. Right, we are now at 21 seconds in. So she's this cop in the background here. This one, let me indicate her. This one is she's been out for the whole fight. You know, that's 21 seconds of action we've had, and she went down within the first 5 seconds. Right. Tango 1 is getting Mr. Grabby with his hands now. Where's he going? Because he's got an arm round here, and I'm not sure what the colour pattern changes are down here, but I'd be getting very worried now. Very worried. Moving on. They are going to the ground. I think she may have hit him with a taser, and this is the problem with tasers, right? Tasers affect different people in different manners. I've seen people being tased and not stop. They just don't stop. They just keep coming. I've seen other people being tased and they go down like a sack of tatties, and you can see that. I mean, Tango 2 here, he's still got his arms up behind his head because he's had enough, right? But tasing them didn't stop him, didn't even put him on the deck. And it didn't slow him down for any time. So this guy's been tased and it's affected him quickly, I think. He's gone what looks like rigid and brought down the other cop with him. But how quickly is he going to recover? Well, some people are tased and they don't get affected. Some people are tased and they're back up and fighting in 10 seconds. Some people are tased and they're groggy for 30, 40, a minute. So it affects everyone different, and that's the problem with a taser. You don't have a definitive action for it. You don't know what's going to happen. And I think cops go to tasers and what do we want as a public? I mean, okay, you don't want to see people getting cracked over the head, but you look at all the riots in Europe, you never see a cop tasing someone. They're either hitting them or water cannoning them, because I don't think tasing works. It certainly doesn't work if you're pumped up on, shall we say, pharmaceuticals. But yeah, so I don't think tasing's the way to go, and I don't think it's all it's cracked out to be. And again, you look at Hollywood and it's just a little touch and zzz, and you're out. It's not how it happens. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Look at the did you seen the one with the two Marines holding the girl and she's getting tased to see what it's like? And she grabs one of the other Marines right on the, shall we say, the cup area and squeezes hard. So different people are affected differently. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. We're still at 21 seconds. Bang. Yeah, he went down hard, right? I'll give you that. He went down hard. This guy is rigid. That was a good, strong taser strike, and he went down hard. The cop is recovering. That is a firearm. Look how easy it is to get it. Why are these cops getting involved in brawls? Because all it needed for him was to grab that at some point. and the whole situation could have gone completely differently. Moving on. It's quite funny in slow motion. You can see him moving. So, so she's there with her taser again. He's backed off because he wants a break. He's had enough. He's been pummeled. And what's she doing? I'm not sure. Again, oh, he's stopped protecting his case. Perry thought you might help the police officer. Mother has gone to the aid of the son, who will be waking up pretty damn soon. Now, at this point, what do you do? Because he's knackered, she's knackered, she's got a broken nose. Tango 2 seems to be behaving, right? But if this guy, if Crypto Berserker guy gets up and starts giving it Tonka again, what are you going to do? Because you know what the next step after a tasing is in the escalation path? You know, it's 2 presents in the form of lead. They all had guns. They're all firearms officers. That's the problem, Beats and Tapes. Why are they involved in a brawl? They should have got security personnel and or unarmed cops. They shouldn't have gone in brawling. But yeah, I think they're all firearms officers. I think they're all armed. So we all know what happens after that. Oh, I didn't really want to show that, but yeah, we know what happens after that. But you know what? No, he wasn't handcuffed. He, they, there's been no right. We've had 27 seconds since this kicked off, Yazzie. 27 seconds. Nobody's handcuffed. Even this guy sitting over here is not handcuffed. You know, this Tango 2, he's just sitting there with his hands behind his head because he's had enough. He's knackered. Because he has knocked merry hell out of this guy, right? And he has knocked merry hell out of her and him, right? All these people are knackered, right? So the problem, why not? Why are they not handcuffed? When would you have? Did you see what was happening, right? There's been no time to handcuff anyone. There's been no time to handcuff anyone. And putting handcuffs on takes longer than you think, believe it or not. This guy is now at the point where if he gets up, I'm in fear of my life. Seriously, and I'm not over exaggerating. That's the point he's at. It's the point that if he gets up, I don't know if I can stop him anymore because I'm out of juice. You know, the tank's empty, and I think what his argument is going to be is I was genuinely in fear of my life, and under no circumstances that I want him to get back up because I couldn't rely on the other officers to protect me. And I think that's the problem. That there's a number of issues here. One, they went into a situation that didn't favour themselves. You want superiority in numbers, not parity. And you might say three against 2 is superior, but when you see the size of these guys compared to the 2 PWs, and they didn't operate within the resources that they had. The police handled it badly. They inflamed a situation that could possibly have been defused. But ultimately, I think when it got to what 27 seconds, the cop's in fear of his life, and any action he takes at that point is justified, in my view, to keep that guy down. Because The guy's starting. He was starting to move, and if he gets back up, is that what's going to happen? Because again, we're back to these cops are armed. You know, so you can't have someone take your firearm. Oh, nobody got anyone on the floor. The only reason this guy's on the floor is because he got tased and took the cop down with him. Yeah, you need to go back and rewatch it. Yeah, go on Twitter and watch the whole thing at full speed because I don't want to play it on full speed here. But yeah, watch it at full speed and you'll realize how quickly things go wrong. It's a complete and utter shit show. And again, as soon as you start putting handcuffs on someone, that's the only job you can do. So you're now because you've got to use two hands to put handcuffs on someone, unless you want to break their wrists. But we'll not go into that. So what do you mean then cuff him? What do you mean then cuff him? If the guy's, I'm telling you, the guy's on empty. He's got a taser in one hand. He can't cuff him. You know what I mean? This is the problem. You're saying then cuff him. It's only 2 seconds since the cop got back on his feet. 2 seconds because we've been stepping through this at half speed. Yeah, this will be used. This will be used all over the place. As how not to approach a situation and how to inflame an already bad situation and just watch it unfold. It's all wrong. I mean, I'm not excusing what the cop did. I'm just telling you why he did it. Because he's in fear of his life. His tank's empty. He's in fear of his life, and he's just reacting because he is now at the point where he's running on instinct. That's training. Training's gone out the window. After he'd been pummeled by Tango 2 for what 5 seconds, and then attacked by Tango 1 after he tasered Tango 2, that guy doesn't even know if it's Tuesday or Tenerife. So that's my take on it. That's what's happened. And for those that like Lawrence Fox who have sat there and went, there's still no excuse for the cop doing that. Yeah, you know what, Loza? You play the hard guy in movies. Try being in real life. Because real life has a nasty habit of unfolding in exactly the way you don't want it to. And sometimes it goes for you and sometimes it goes against you. And yeah, what do you want from your police? This had been America, those two guys would be dead. They wouldn't be alive. They would never have got to that point. If it had been probably any country in Europe, they'd either be dead or seriously injured. You have no idea how restrained the British police are compared to other forces. So, and the problem is, we're now getting to the point where we're emasculating the police to the point where they can't do the job. And yeah, it might not be nice to see, but sometimes you've got to be hard to get the job done. And if you don't want that to occur, then what do you do? Because that's the problem with society. We've kind of become too woke, and we see these things and we go, "Oh, that's terrible," People shouldn't do that, but shit happens. I mean, I've got some horror stories. I mean, real horror stories of what's happened and things that have been done. And luckily, I mean, look at me. I'm not too bad. I think the worst I got was a headbutt in the lip. It was split my lip. But other than that, never had my nose broke. Had a black eye once, I think, but generally haven't. I've probably given more than I've got. So, but life isn't when you're down and dirty on the street. Isn't life isn't as cut and dried as people would like to think it is. And yeah, that's right, Azzy. Yeah, Azzy, it is. It's illegal to clip your kid round the ear. Yeah, yeah. And should it be or should it not? Because did it do you any harm growing up? Did it do me any harm growing up? Do you any harm when the cop gave you a kick up the arse? You know, for playing in a building site and told you to fuck off home? Did it do you any harm? You just didn't go back to the building site or you didn't get caught, you know? You didn't go and grass them up. It's like you see and this happened in schools as well. I think because people used to respect their teachers not because they were getting thumped by them, but because the teachers were seen as an authority figure. And if you went home with a note from the teacher saying you've been a little bastard in school, your dad or your mum, punished you appropriately. Now you go home with a note from the school saying you've been a little bastard, and then the parents are up at the headmaster's going, "My son is not that. He's not that at all. He's perfect. He would never do such a thing." And don't tell me you don't, because people do this all the time now. Their son or daughter can do no wrong, and it's like nobody believes any authority figure now. And maybe that's a problem for authority figures because they've shown themselves not to be believable. And I'm not denying that. But there's a completely different way of dealing with people these days. And I don't think it does them any. I don't think it does them any favors, really. I don't think it does. And when you go, it's like this is why British always get into problems when they go abroad, because you will not get treated nicely in foreign countries if you step out of line. You will get hammered. But anyway, I think that's probably enough for tonight. I don't want to be too down on people or whatever. My main point was to go through that and show you where I think it all went wrong, and it wasn't the fact that the cops. I don't even think the thing at the end is the worst thing the cops have done. I think the cops inflamed the situation by not dealing with it appropriately at the start. I think there could have been a very, very different turnout from what occurred. I think at the end that cop was just running on instinct. It wasn't a considered action, and you want to punish him for it. That's fine, but you have to take into account that I think he genuinely at that point was in fear of his life because he had no backup from his other officers, none whatsoever. He'd been pummeled on by two big guys, and he didn't want the one that was still going at him. He didn't want him getting up, and I think he was just running on instinct, and that's just my view, right? I'm not saying what he did was right, and how he gets punished, I think that's fine, but you have to take into cognizance what has occurred to lead to that situation. And this is the thing I was banging on about on Friday. You can't make your mind up when you don't know the context. If you don't know the context of a situation, you can't say there's no excuse for him doing it. Well, there might not be an excuse for him doing it, but now you can see that there's a reason for what he did. It wasn't vengeance, it was fear. That's what it was. Because that guy had already been knocking lumps out of him. So it's down to fear. Cops are not superhuman. They're just people like you and I. And when you get to the point that, as I said, that's a 27-second fight, they're all knackered. You know, I mean, I know in Hollywood fight scenes go on in John Wick for like 5 minutes. Well, in real life, you know, fights over or done and dusted in less than a minute because everybody gets knackered. And if they go beyond that, it becomes pitiful to watch. And you've seen them on YouTube and Twitter. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you've got something from it. I hope I haven't put anyone off. But you know what? Life's hard sometimes, and sometimes life's lessons are hard, and that's the problem. That we don't want the hard lessons. We just want the easy life. And sometimes you got to turn around and take the hard lesson and go through it. You know, and it's all part of life's rich tapestry and growing towards your ultimate end. It's been great for you.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future, we all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the sewer. What you say? Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build